live on the Periscope feed for SB Nation's Dawg Sports. Josh is very excited to see we are not having the technical difficulties we did last night. If you tried to join us on Sunday evening, we apologize. You are a good person for sticking with us.
We're live on YouTube.
Here.
We are.
And we're live on YouTube. Wow. Look at
Go
that.
Dawgs.
We are doing things. So we're here to talk about a few things. Got signing day a couple days away, and we've got the big Gunner Stockton news to break down, and a few other storylines floating around in the college football universe. Josh, say hello. This is Mr. Josh Hancher.
This is my best opening ever.
Yeah. So let's get into it, man. Let's not waste any time. Gunner Stockton committed last week to Georgia, 5-star quarterback, class of 2022 out of Rabun County. He is about as Georgia as we can get. So this is from his game earlier this year against Brock Vandagriff's team, Prince Avenue Christian.
We're going to go back into these plays a little later. This is from like some sports, from some bleacher stand footage and stuff. But it's just, here we go. This guy's got an arm.
Yeah, he's got an arm.
He's got some legs.
Yeah, he's pretty much the full package. Number 1 ranked dual threat quarterback in the nation, and one-time South Carolina commit. If you're a Georgia fan, after watching Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence leave the state and go to South Carolina and win titles at Clemson, it's got to feel good to keep him and Vandagriff home in consecutive classes. Stockton, looking at him, he is pretty special. Do you want to get into those plays in order?
Do you want to do this the second clip here? And
yeah, sure. So, is this the run?
This is a touchdown off the this fan cam and stuff. A little dump off pass. Can you see it? Are you seeing it on the Discord?
Yeah. No, we've got it going. I think we're a little out of order on what I have versus what you have.
Go to clip 3, Gunner 3 here.
Okay, cool. That's fine. So
quick out, quick decision, good read.
Yeah, so that's a big arm, and when he steps into the ball, he has some good arm to him. I like the fact that, like you said, quick decision, decisive. He keeps that ball up high by his ear hole. Just an easy release when he decides to throw the ball. There's no wasted motion there. Let's move on. So I believe this is the little screen pass he's going to throw here, which is not a huge play, but those types of little throws are a big part of any offense in college football today. The quick game is a big part of Todd Monken's offense. He throws those little swing passes well, and that can be an area where quarterbacks can kind of get the yips a lot of the time. So it's good to see that in them. There's a lot of hidden yardage there if you can throw those balls in stride. So positive there. Let's look at this next play. I love this throw from him. So this is first play off possession change, and he's just going to trust his guy who is bigger than the man on him, and he puts the ball where only his guy can get it, and he basically puts it right where it has to be. That is a dime in high school football and college football at any level, and he recognizes the matchup, so you got to like that.
Yeah, he throws it on time. I think he gives a quick look right there and then just flings it, and it just that look just gave his receiver that step he needed, and you're right, he put it right where he had to go. Right.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because like watching him in all of the sort of breakdown film we watched to get ready for this episode, I don't ever see a play where he takes the snap and immediately looks at the guy who he ends up throwing to. He is really, really good at being patient. He has good eye discipline. He moves guys around, and it's probably why he doesn't have very many balls picked off, because he's not staring receivers down. This right here, I like this play. It's not a huge one, but he's patient here, and gets out, gets the first down, puts his head down a little bit. He's a very willing runner. He does not mind taking contact. He does not mind putting his shoulder pads down. And he's not going to burn any SEC defenses or anything like that. But like having a guy that can pick up 4 yards on 3rd and 3 is huge. That was a big part of LSU's success with Joe Burrow. It's like he's not a Michael Vick or anything like that, but he's just mobile enough to be dangerous. This play here coming up 4th and 7. I always think it's important to talk about context when we're talking about these plays, but he does a really good job of moving his eyes. He looks at that seam coming up the middle first and doesn't stare down that receiver to the bottom. Number 1 was his primary go-to receiver last year, and he, waits, gives him time to clear the first down marker, and then doesn't throw it till he's well past the sticks. And again, it's one of these throws like where when he steps into the ball and whips that leg around, there is a lot of velocity on his passes. So
yeah, he's got, let's see, four guys out in the pattern, with a curl here. I'm going to get busted for trying to use football terms, but anyway, this is a flood, right? This is a similar to what Monken got a lot of yards out of on these flood passes where you just flood the secondary and you just find the guy that's open.
Yeah, totally. That left side, the top side of the screen there, he's got kind of two guys working towards the sideline, and then the middle guy probably would have come open on the slant. But like you're talking about, it's spread offense. It's spreading guys out and finding matchups that favor your team. And so having a guy come in that has experience in a system like that is exciting. Let's go ahead and show that slant that you just showed again, because that is another beautiful ball thrown with some gas in stride on the numbers over the middle. Or this is a run play here. But this one right here. So seeing consecutive plays where he's throwing the ball hard and confidently both to the sideline and to the middle, I think that's a pretty routine throw. He's not putting it in a tight window. He is putting it on the money and in stride, but like the comfort level that he has throwing the ball over the middle and to the sidelines, I think is exciting. I think you see a lot of quarterbacks like Jake Fromm was really comfortable throwing the ball to the outside of the hash marks, was never that comfortable throwing the ball over the middle. Seeing somebody that has both is exciting.
And here's why he's, the next level, because he can just go, we talked about this last night. This is not a touchdown run in the SEC, but it could be a 3rd down conversion or a critical play. He's got some wheels and he's big and strong and can run it.
Right. And in all of these college offenses today, and Monken's office included, has these zone read plays in it.
Where he saw the defensive end come all the way in, he knew there was going to be a gap there, and he took it.
Yeah, and so having a guy like that can run the ball, that is going to force defensive ends to not crash into the running lanes of the running backs and respect his ability to take it outside. It creates so much more room for running backs. Like if you just ask DeAndre Swift from 2019 how much of a difference it makes if you have a willing runner on your team, because he didn't with Jake Fromm, and we watched it over and over again where Fromm would have 15 yards of space outside of the tackle and he didn't want to run, and so boom, you got 8 guys crashing into the running back's lane. This is the interception here. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think it's important, right? Like to remember these kids aren't perfect. This is a terrible decision to throw this ball. It's also not the smartest to throw it fading away.
It's a terrible.
At any level, bad idea. And you see these guys come in and they do kind of have to go through like that de-recruitment sort of phase of, you don't have to make every play. Your arm is not strong enough to make every play on the field. It's a little bit of like hero ball, which is to be expected from any big time recruit, but I'm sure they'll coach that out of him in Athens.
Yeah, and then is there anything you want to touch on? We've just blasted people with a lot of plays before we get to this last play, which is, I know it's got to be the one that gets you pretty excited about it. But you
No,
go over
yeah,
the timeline, because I'm sure a lot of people know the Gunner Stockton timeline, but let's just rewind it just for those that may or may not remember all the parts to this story.
Yeah, so I mean, he committed to South Carolina, and Will Muschamp and Mike Bobo and Connor Shaw last year in the preseason, I think back in August before his high school season started. And he was very intentional about saying he did not want to go through the recruitment process while his team is playing high school football, which I think is commendable. His head coach is Jabo Shaw, who played at Georgia Southern and Georgia Tech, and his brother is Connor Shaw, the South Carolina quarterback that definitely gave Georgia some fits at times and is now on their staff at USC. So it was a natural kind of connection for him to end up at South Carolina. Georgia fans, though, I think, looked at it and it was like, this guy's great. We want him, but we've got Vandagriff committed. Like, it's logical that he's not going to come and sit behind Vandagriff. But with the coaching change at South Carolina and Muschamp leaving, all of a sudden he reopened his recruitment. And a lot of people, myself included, thought he was going to end up at Auburn and follow Mike Bobo, because you would imagine he'd come in and probably take over from Bo Nix and not have a ton of competition for that spot. But he wanted to be a Bulldog. I mean, we were kind of joking about this last night, but like, this dude is as old school Georgia as it gets, right? Like, he asks for cattle for his birthday. He drives around in a pickup truck with a CB radio. He dates Vince Dooley's freaking granddaughter. This is like the anointed, one to come out of the Appalachian Hills and fill the hearts of all the old school UGA fans.
Well, and I think this, we have digested and talked and re-talked and redid everything we can about the Justin Fields, Jake Fromm situation. But I think this tells, at least to me, maybe this is superficial, that Kirby can manage a quarterback room, and that these, Justin Fields' 2018 classes and Gunner Stockton's 2022 and Vandagriff's 2021. I mean, these guys are around each other enough, and the word is out there. So clearly, if Kirby is mismanaging players, I don't think that Brock Vandagriff and Gunner Stockton commit to Georgia. I think that speaks volumes to the kind of program that Kirby wants, and he's probably upfront and with these guys, and knows that there's a chance that maybe one of these guys doesn't fit in and might transfer out. But to relitigate this again and talk about Kirby can't manage or Kirby's going to screw this up is ridiculous. I mean, I've started to see that people are, now that Justin Fields' era is over at Ohio State and he didn't win a national championship, people are starting to come back and go, well, maybe he did. Maybe Fromm was the better choice for their offense. And I mean, his offense was excoriated. I think the one tweet was, I don't know if it was from Walken or not. It was some hot taker that said, if your offense isn't suited for Justin Fields, your offense sucks. So I don't think their offense sucks, and I'm pretty excited to have these guys competing and stuff. And depending on nobody redshirts anymore, and transfers are much more prevalent for players. But I'd love, these guys clearly want to be Dogs. So I mean, I think that's awesome.
No, 100%. Yeah, we won't rehash everything with Fields and Fromm, but I do think, Georgia has always run a pro style offense, right? Basically, at least in the kind of modern era of college football. And 10 years ago, under Mark Richt and Mike Bobo, that pro style offense looked like playing out of the I formation and still having a fullback. Today's pro style offenses have a lot of spread principles and, a lot of 4 wide kind of passing schemes and all of that stuff. So it's evolving to become a much more wide open offense. But it's like, if you look at Todd Monken's track record with quarterbacks, I don't know why you wouldn't want to come to Athens. Like, he made Jameis Winston into, I'm pretty sure, the NFL's leading passer by yardage. He got Brandon Weeden drafted in the first round as a freaking 29-year-old. Like, that's, a miracle in and of itself. So, it makes sense. And I mean, the reality, like, you've got these two guys coming on campus. The chances of both of them being on campus together for more than a year are probably like really, really slim. But there's a chance Vandagriff might pan out. There's a chance that Stockton might not pan out. There's like virtually zero chance that one of these dudes is not a stud. And like we've talked about, this basically locks up the quarterback position at Georgia through 2024. And a quarterback is the price of entry into the college football playoff and into the national title club. And Georgia basically, they have the prerequisite thing that they need to be a national title contender legitimately for the next 4 years. How's that not exciting if you're a Georgia fan?
It's almost as exciting as this backbreaker play that at the time we were cheering for Vandagriff.
Yeah, totally. I know it was. Yeah. But again, we were talking about context earlier. Your team was up 24 points. You blew a big lead. There's 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Your guy busts wide open. Do you underthrow it to, play it safe and make sure the ball gets there and, make sure you're not going to overthrow it and blow the game? No, not if you're Gunner Stockton. You step into that thing, hose that son of a bitch downfield 45 yards into the back pylon and put it on the money in stride. And that's the most impressive thing in all of this tape we're watching. Yeah, it's the confidence. And you really you can try to coach that, but there's just dudes that have it and there's dudes that don't. And he's a dude. And I think the other interesting piece that we can probably get into now is what this does for the rest of Georgia's 2022 recruiting class.
Yeah. We got a commitment here that's not going to be on this list, but Gunner Stockton, and the Tyree Hill out of Tifton is our highest rated recruit right now. We actually had a comment on our YouTube channel. Someone concerned about wide receiver in the 2022 class. I'm like, I think we're going to be okay. It's a little early, but yeah, we've signed a lot of wide receivers, but we're stacking. It's off to a good start. We're sitting number 2 behind Ohio State in the 2022 class with just 7 recruits. I guess we got the 8th sort of verbal today. I'm excited for Donovan Westmoreland, who is playing for my alma mater, Griffin Bears, and he had a breakout game, the very first game of the season, and the offers started pouring in for him to relatively quickly commit to the Dawgs. Is pretty exciting. He's only a 3-star, but just seeing he's just a monster. He's just a ball hawk and just on the play, and I think it's gonna be pretty exciting. He's coached by Kareem Reed, who was Isaiah Spiller's coach at Westlake for defensive backs. So he's got a lot of momentum going. So, and also we got a kid today, right?
Yeah.
Big Bear.
So no. Well, so he's supposed to commit on Wednesday. Which ironically is 2021 signing day. Yeah, no, that's great. His name is Bear Alexander. He's doing things. He's Big Bear. Probably the greatest album cover in the history of the world. So we're going to use it here because that's what we do on Dawg Sports Live. If you give us a wide open layup, we're going to take that bad boy every time. But, he's kind of in that same mold of Jordan Davis and Tyrion Ingram Dawkins that's coming in for next year. So exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about this 2022 class, as it relates to the Gunner Stockton news, is just that with him signing, Georgia probably just wrapped up another half dozen high 4 to 5-star guys because he's the type of guy that people want to play with. He's kind of just got that air about him. Star power is probably the best way to put it, and it'll be interesting to see what running backs and wide receivers decide they want to come to Athens because this dude is coming to Athens. So a lot to be excited about. The class of 22 in the state of Georgia is absolutely disgusting. There is just a ton of talent at every position. And so if this will be one of those years, if Georgia can build a wall around the state, then they'll finish with a top 2 or 3 class.
So you talked about Wednesday being signing day. So we've got one kind of guy that we're looking at, right? That would really be the icing on the top, cherry on top, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Terrion Arnold is really the big name left on the board. If you're Georgia, you really need him. It's one of those recruiting battles between Georgia and Alabama, which, you know, anytime you can win one of those, it's going to feel good to take a guy from Saban. But he is a stud safety. He's out of Tallahassee, Florida for a long time. I thought he was, going to stay home and be a Seminole, but it looks like this has kind of come down to Georgia and Alabama here at the 11th hour. I would imagine that Georgia is, selling him pretty heavily on the idea that if you come to Athens, you're going to have a chance to step on the field and play right away next year. Whether that's at safety or at, the star position, like the secondary is pretty wide open next year with the exception of Lewis Sean, who we know is going to be our strong safety. Like any of those guys that played in the Chick-fil-A Bowl, they could all be recruited over basically. And it wouldn't be a shock. So Georgia really needs him, truthfully. Like it's rare that we say that in the era of Kirby smart recruiting just because he's stockpiled so much depth. But like if there was ever a guy that Georgia really needs to land on signing day to actually affect their national title hopes in 2021, this is probably it.
Wow. Yeah. I follow recruiting much more than since I've been doing this stuff with you guys more than I did before, and I just you always be recruiting, you know what I mean? And Kirby tells these guys it's like he wants the best players, but he said I'm going to recruit somebody better than you if I can, and I think that's part of that honesty that he and this kid probably is better than a lot of the players that are on the roster right now. So.
Like Christopher Smith is a nice player, and he's great in coverage, but like he is not a big body defensive back, and that's really sort of where things are trending that you need to have in the SEC these days is these physical defensive backs that can hang on an island and not have jump balls thrown over their heads all day. Honestly, Smith, his coverage skills are so good that like bringing in Arnold might allow you to sort of move him around as a chess piece and use him as a slot corner in certain situations or use him as a star. You've lost Eric Stokes, you've lost Tyson Campbell, you've lost Tyreek Stevenson, you've lost DJ Daniels. So that's, 4 of your 5 kind of secondary rotation guys that got a lot of playing time. Keely Ringo, you would assume, is going to be one of the starting defensive backs. You've got Nyland Green coming in, who's extremely talented. He became a 5-star on this last update from 24/7. So I would think he will probably end up at the star position because he's pretty physical. I'm not sure if he's a pure cover corner. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see like how this all shakes out. Right.
Well,
Go
ahead.
No, that'll like, as we move into spring practice and fall camp, like that's going to be the spot to follow for Georgia fans.
Well, I've got Eric Gilbert on here, so we should talk about it. I know it's a couple days old. It was much more topical last night. So, it's who doesn't want, we're talking about these players, and he's great. He's a specimen. He caught a ton of balls as a true freshman, and Florida's lucky to have him. But it doesn't mean, it's disappointing, but I don't think it's that bad. It's not like a house of cards, like as you'll see on Florida Twitter all the time. And I'm going to show our returning numbers here, and kind of, this is some of the John Fitz. We've got a lot. We've got Darnell Washington, a tight end who's a beast, who we love, and I would love to see Zero outplay him next year in the SEC East. And we got Brock Bowers coming in as a tight end. We've got George Pickens, Jermaine Burton, Kyrus Jackson, James. So many targets for JT Daniels. And it's just, and I think, it's 98.5% receiving yardage, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. And you will hear us say this like a dozen times or more this offseason, but that is a stat that, advanced metric followers and the guys that create some of these formulas like S&P Plus that Bill Connolly does, that is the one that they often point to and say like this is as good of an indicator of who is going to be a national title contender the next season. Georgia's returning, basically everyone that catches passes. So if Eric Gilbert had come to Georgia, it would have been a fantastic luxury, and it would have been a lot of fun to watch him like spear balls in the end zone over somebody's head. But reality is, if he's thinking about his career, if he goes to Florida, he's going to be the centerpiece of the offense. At Georgia, he is, probably 3 or 4 or 5 on the list of guys that you need to get the ball to every game. Will Emory Jones be able to hit him on anything other than a screen? Time will tell. We will see. But who knows?
I don't think that Eric Gilbert was the missing piece for a title run. I mean, he would have been a nice piece, but he's not the missing piece. We have all the pieces, and Eric Gilbert would have been a nice cherry on top, but we've got the pieces, and we've got to execute and avoid injuries and, maybe get a little lucky.
Was that the ever pessimistic dog stat saying that we have all the pieces? Did I just hear that correct?
Dude, I'm not pessimistic at all. I don't know. Maybe I just play the rope-a-dope over here on the show, but no, I'm excited. Dude, I'm jacked up, man. I mean, January was kind of a tough month. We went dark and stuff, but I kind of like that. Ready to grind. Almost stole a trademark.
We don't say that here.
Oh God, no! I'm ready to look at some tape with you guys and start getting ready for the. I mean, I'm ready. Let's go, because clearly basketball is not happening. So
yeah,
we love you.
No, totally.
We love you, Hoops Mafia. But maybe if we make a run, we'll get you back on the air and talk some basketball. But right now, it's signing day.
If we make it to the weekend in the SEC tournament, we will do another basketball show. But that's not going to happen, so don't worry about it. Yeah, I mean, I think the whole Georgia versus Florida thing. I'll put it this way, and we won't touch it too much tonight. But there's a reason why Dan Mullen wanted his name floated out there for NFL jobs this winter, and it's not because he feels like he has all the pieces to make a run at a conference title or national title in 2021.
Yeah. No, the SEC East is going to run through Athens, so I'm pretty stoked about that.
100%.
All right, brother. That was a good show. I hope hope you guys make sure you subscribe on the YouTube live thing that we may, I think, confidently, fingers crossed, we're on live right now, but it'll be uploaded if it didn't. And retweet and follow. I am Josh Hancher, Dawg_stats on the Twitter.
Yeah, I am Graham Coffey. You can find me at Dawg Out West on Twitter, and also on SB Nation's Dawg Sports. This is Dawg Sports Live, brought to you by SB Nation. We appreciate you joining us on this Monday night, and we hope that you will subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way we can read your comments and engage with you and have fun with you over there. So please do so.
And give us some ideas. We're not just doing tapes and stuff. We're going to do all kinds of stuff with a lot of the Dawg Sports guys. And if there's people you want to bring on or things you want to talk about, get us in the comments or in the tweets, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely. Yeah, we want to get Macon Dog and Dave the Dog and all the dogs involved over here, and also our dear buddy Nathan will be around from time to time as well. So if there's somebody you want us to see that's also not even part of the smaller UGA media family as well, we'd love to pull people in and talk about larger college football issues than just Georgia as well. So let us know who you'd like to hear and see.
All right. With that, I think we're out. I'm going to see if I can end this as well as I started. So I've got a button here, and this might be it. So you got anything else?
Nah, stick the landing, brother.
All right. And